Hi, we are Amber and Tony from New Zealand. We bought a 34-foot ex-rental canal boat in France in 2019. It is now 2022 and we are finally back. We spent the first month of our 5-month stay working on her, fixing the floors, sewing curtains, replacing batteries, water blasting and sanding the bottom and painting her and giving her some bling. We then set off on our 4-month adventure, going up the Bourgogne, down the Nivernais, up the Loire lateral and then back to down Bourgogne to Saint-Jean-de-Dun. It took us approximately 3 weeks to get up the Bourgogne and then another 3 weeks from Auxerre down to Decize.
So this week starts off with us heading towards the Sardy staircase, still on the Nivernais. We're on our way. Beautiful morning. The boat in its disarray of travelling. Not sure if that big boat there is coming towards us or not. Let's hope it's stationary and that there's a place for us to get past. We have decided we definitely need binoculars as we find it quite hard to see what's coming up ahead. Today we have stopped at Sardy, which is at the bottom of the hill. So tomorrow we've got a huge day going up the hill, but it's a lovely little port, but there is no water, no shade and no power, but the shade is the issue that we really have here. It's so hot today, and I've just spent about 3 hours doing editing in the forward cabin, and I'm definitely need a cold shower.
As we sat in the boat, we watched this thing pouncing in the paddock on things. I'm convinced it's a fox, but there was much discussion over it.
Found a beautiful big apple tree that's dropping its apples, so they're nice and ripe. Probably end up with a tummy ache tonight, but they look too good to miss. Don't touch this stuff, it's nettle, it stings like crap. Having a morning scratch. So last night it was extremely hot. France is in the middle of a bit of a heat wave, so we were over in the mooring way over here and it was about 35 degrees. It was just so hot, so we came round the corner and we set up over here, which we had all the shade from these trees down onto us. It was beautiful, but it was extremely hot last night. Today we're doing the Sardy staircase, which is 16 locks, each 2.5 meters high, up to the summit, and it's meant to get really hot today, so we're just enjoying this cool morning of about 13 degrees. It was actually very pleasant, and getting ready for a big day. This is a sculpture guy who's got a studio at one of the lock houses. You can see the lock house was built in 1826. This was a cafe that was looking very tired and run down. I think it was a result of the COVID, unfortunately. Anchor at number 3 before the top of the hill. Hello! See the old wooden gates, these are very, very old.
Once you get to the top of the hill, you have 3 tunnels to go through. First 2 are about 250 metres, and then the last one's about 700. I'd had a little bit of an incident with the steering before we got in there to do the tunnels, so I was a bit nervous, but Tony got me back on the wheel again, and it wasn't too hard to steer through. They're actually really quite cool to go through.
Here up the top at Brie, and just walked along the edge of the lake, and we've just been for a lovely swim because it is stinking hot. Beautiful, but very, very hot, so everybody's in swimming. And a little bit of shade, which is really nice. All is good with the world. Tony and I are off for a ride this morning up towards the waterhole where we went for a swim yesterday. So this is where we were all swimming yesterday. It's lovely and quiet now. Yesterday was bad because it was so hot. This is Lake Bay. This is the reservoir for the Canal. We're at the top of the hill and our boat is way over there. After a little confusion, we have found the track. It's beautiful wherever we are. Trees down, diversion and track. Tony's going ahead clearing the spider webs for me.
At the end of our ride, we came across a bird watching box, which was very peaceful. Even the birds liked the spot. We think this is evidence of moles.
So we've done the little piece that we thought we were going to do, and we're now going to carry on and try and get round the rest of the lake. So we've come right round the lake. Our boat is just sort of over there, and we're coming down to the little town. There's a woman with a grinder on the roof in a dress. No safety gear, got to be France. these little pleasure boats down here where you can go through the tunnel and back again. And they have a light system. I don't know if you can see up there. There is a green light, which means that they can leave from this end because it's only a one-way system going through the 3 tunnels, which we did yesterday. And but there's nothing here. There's no shops, but it's a beautiful spot to stay. Later that day, I decided to go off for a paint and find a cool spot. Found a great spot by the first tunnel and met some really cool Belgian people who were on a motorbike touring trip. They came down to have a chat. It was great. Found a lovely little spot just down by the entrance to one of the tunnels, and I've been painting here for a couple of hours so far, and it is really, really hot today. There's a heat wave going through France at the moment, so it's a matter of trying to find some shade, and very much enjoying myself away from everybody and a bit of peace and quiet. As being an artist, you do spend quite a bit of time on your own, so it's quite nice to get away and just go into my own little happy place as I do. And yeah, it's a beautiful spot here. The birds are singing, the leaves are rustling in the trees with the wind, and it's just really peaceful. I'm in heaven again. Back from my little painting foray, back down to the marina. Thankfully I'm in the shade because it must be about 40 degrees. It is so hot. I got back and Tony was investigating our steering problem to see if he could fix it. Today we leave Lake Bay and heading down, so all our locks will be downward, which are much easier. The weather is overcast, as you can see. After the last couple of days it's been very hot, so it's very pleasant temperature and it should be a great time. Jenny's walking down to the first lock where we're going to meet her. She's going to go and get our morning baguette and croissant down at the lock, which is down there. Just had a lovely little bit of lunch and then we're on to Châtillon-en-Bessois. Here we are moored up in Châtillon-en-Bessois. Nice little port. Not too sure whether we're going to have to move, but Jenny's just in the office waiting to talk to somebody about it.
Are you in your happy place?
I am indeed. My husband loves me. He's made me creme brulee and coffee, and I'm painting. I couldn't be any better. This is something really interesting this morning on our way to the market. There's a great big truck here and it's a hardware store, and people are lining up to get their hardware as there's no shop like that in this little town. Really cool. First look of the day out of Châlillon-en-Bessois. It's going down, which is nice. People fishing. All the cyclists. Bonjour! Fantastic! At the wheel. Lunch beside the canal. Just waiting for a boat to come up through the lock. It's our first boat we've seen today going the other way. It's beasting, not very nice. So we're just coming into Panso. So it's a little bit unclear, but we're working it out. It's pretty nice. Nobody here.
These are baby catfish, and there are clumps of them all over the place, but this was a particularly big clump.
We've had a lovely stay at Panico. The facilities are within the campground just here, so it's been really nice. There's nothing in the town. There is no town really, it's just a whole lot of houses, but very nice place to stay.
As you can see, we really are in the countryside. We see very, very few people, and the only cattle that we ever see are these big white Chevrolet cows. It's just a very beautiful country, very green.
Our lovely Ecclusier, he is studying music engineering and doing a summer job doing the Ecclusiers.
The Marquis, who was not yet 20 years when the revolution burst out, was soon arrested and incarcerated at Rouen at the prison at Saint-Yon. Later he managed to get to England, where he took on a disguise and came back to the region of Chartres, regained his possessions and his patrimony, and then he distributed a great part of his lands and establishments to charitable institutions in August 1845.
The bus were made.
The bust.
Here we are in Cercy-le-Tours, up on the hill, and our boat is just down behind that little tree down there. So we're just having lunch here today. So this is a lovely scented garden down from the top, and it actually smells beautiful. It is really lovely, and it goes all the way down to the bottom. Here we have the flotilla, which is what those we talked about in the last video that they used to make and take down the road to Paris. Very cool. On dinner duty, making a nice chicken salad for dinner. Potatoes. So Jenny and I are off to see Decize to find out what it has to hold. Tony's gone off to find some diesel, I think, for the boat, and we're off to explore. This is the Arun River. Now on for quite a walk, and we're now crossing over a great big bridge, hopefully going to the centre of Decize. This is the old Loire. More evidence of moles. This is the Loire that we think it is. Again, we're not sure, but we'll work it out as the day progresses. Find some signs. This is the last existing gate out of Decize, built in 1488, made out of the local stone.
How desperate would you have to be?
I know, I just can't help myself. There's still got to be a penis somewhere. So we're just leaving the basin of Decize, and we're going up the lateral of Loire towards Nevers. So we were staying here. We're just going through this lock now. I'm going to go down here in to talk to the Capitan about what's going on up the side of the canals. This is the lock coming into the actual marina of Decize. If you can see, there's a oh, there we go, a little bar there sticking up. There's a rope hanging down from there which we've got to pull, and that activates the lock doors for us to go through. So nothing's happened, the lights haven't gone on, and we've been waiting for about 20 minutes, I suppose. So they've obviously turned the power off for lunch or something, so we're going to have lunch, drift around for a bit. So now motoring back up to Decize, the old part, and we're just going to moor over there to have our lunch while we wait for the cruisiers to turn the power back on so we can use the automatic gate, which is just stupid. So take two, we've stopped and had a little bit of lunch, and we're going to try and go through the lock into the marina again. So we're finally in the lock. It's got these sliding ropes, slots, And then we see you pull the blue cord, cable, and that triggers up there, which sets the doors shutting at the back. Here comes the water. Jenny is braced and ready to go. It's going to be a gusher. You can see the marina through the top of the gates. So here we are coming into the port, and we've just got to find a spot to park so we can go and have a chat to the Capitan about the state of the canals up. Well, the Capitan at the little port was absolutely useless. She was very unhelpful and wouldn't even let us get back to our boat. It was all a bit of a pain in the ass for her. So we're just going to carry on. We spoke to a lovely gentleman in the marina, and he has come from Briar, and he said there was no problem with the water level. So we're going to keep going.
No. Now I'll have a shaving rack.
So that's the end of the Neverlay.